What's up, everybody? Brody here with Sew Yeah Quilting, and our special guest, Rob Appell. Welcome to the studio. So Rob is formerly with Man Sewing, currently with Michael Miller, Making It Fun with Rob Appell, as you can see here. And he's going to teach me a little bit of his art. Let's see it.
Awesome. Okay, today we are diving into the Super 60 Sampler Quilt. Quick pitch back to my channel. If you want to know a lot more about how to make the quilt you see behind me, I have broken all of the steps down for you on my channel, Making It Fun. What I really want to teach you, and especially you, my friend,
I'm excited,
is how to use the templates and really what we're looking at with the templates.
Okay.
So if it's okay, let's start with the hardware before we get into the cutting and the sewing.
Let's jump into it.
Okay, so in the template set, we have 3 different templates. 2 of them work together, and a 3rd one works on its own.
Where can people get these?
These are in the description below. That's Sew Yeah Quilting.
SewYaQuilting.com, guys. Check it out.
So, pre-cut friendly. You might have seen a moment ago, these were laid out intentionally in a way that you can go ahead and cut from a 10-inch square.
Perfect.
So super easy that way. Of course, right now we're going to cut off strips of fabric, or in a moment we're going to cut off strips of fabric.
Great.
I don't like writing instructions. So I gave our template some pretty fun names.
Yes.
Quiz to all of you at home. If you know where the names came from, please let us know in the comments below. We'll have a little fun with that. So the names of the template are Jerry and Bobby and Phil. Because Bobby's going to be a standalone. Okay. And Jerry and Phil are going to work together.
Perfect.
So in doing this, they actually will all come together, as you see in the quilt, to form what is a 60-degree triangle. Okay.
Perfect.
And they are 8.5 inches raw, 8 inches finished in the triangle.
Okay, perfect.
So you can use any pattern that is 60-degree triangle friendly.
And add in your own mix.
Add in your own mix, and the best part of the mix is you can now make what becomes these big, awesome polka dots in your triangles.
Which is really cool, because the hard thing is that a lot of people see circles.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm not
done.
I'm not making that pattern, right? But this is going to be, I hope this is going to make it easy for me to be able to add this into my quilts.
It really does.
Right?
It really does. Okay, so now with that said, let's start with the most challenging.
Okay.
Let's just get the hard stuff out of the way.
All right.
Okay, so doing that, I'm going to cut for both of these pieces first.
Use Michael Miller fabrics, and we're going to go ahead and start cutting, right?
Start cutting. Another quick PSA.
Sure.
I guess I had too much coffee again.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, there's a couple of cutting tricks I want to teach everybody at home, because you know I love to teach.
Yep, good.
So
I can learn, so.
Yeah, okay. So number one thing, today we're using a 28mm rotary cutter. If you do not know.
Where could you get those?
You could probably get these in the description below. That's Sew Yeah Quilting, of course. I like that.
Right?
Thank you very much. And reminding everybody at home. So yeah, 28mm. If you don't know, the smaller the blade, the easier it's going to curve. So the 28 is going to be perfect for coming on the inside of the Jerry template, right?
See, and most people use 45s,
right?
45mm.
Standard.
And everybody has that, you have it at home, but this is a tool that you want to invest in, because there's a lot of times, especially after you have these templates, you're going to be able to do circles and do all that.
Well, where would you get this stuff?
I would get it at SewYaQuilting.com.
Right.
Links below.
The other thing I've done, and if you don't know this, whenever we put diagrams, etchings, writing on the templates, that's really to help the templates stick better to the fabric. I didn't put much markings on my templates, so really what we've done is on the back side, and it's probably almost impossible to see, we've put these true grips, which are a sticky donut. And not only can you use the donut in the big spots, but like on the back of Bobby, I've used just the little donut hole itself, right? Which you can use a couple of them.
Perfect.
These true grips are going to help the templates or rulers really stick to the fabric. We are cutting on the bias. We don't want anything to move. We do want to shoot for accuracy.
Especially when we're going on a curve, right?
Yep, exactly. So we're just a little extra safety. So that's the first thing that folks really need to do, is they need to get some true grips. They need to get their template set. They need to get a 28 if they don't already have it. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, I wonder where they'd get that stuff.
I would get it, SewYaQuilting.com.
Okay,
cool.
Enough of that. We're going to use 2 colors. So any 2 colors you want, we'll use all 3 when we get to Bobby. So you pick 2 colors, please.
I'm going to go, I've been feeling greens lately.
All right,
so we're going to go greens.
Color. Okay.
I'm going to go with a white here.
Okay, Fairy Frost, Michael Miller, Cotton Couture, Michael Miller. Fabulous.
Perfect.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do, and we're just going to cut a couple at a time.
Okay,
so I'm going to start down here. This is the selvage end.
Okay, so I've got 2 layers there.
Got 2 layers there. I'm going to find myself just a straight edge anywhere.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to line it up. So I'm coming up past the selvage right now.
Okay.
I am not putting these on this edge because this edge may not be perfectly straight. And
we're going to just straighten it up ourselves, right?
Yep, and we're going to cut it out anyways. So I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to cut straight through all the way to the edge and off.
Okay.
So that's clean. If I need to come back up, we can do this.
Great.
Okay. Now I'm going to rotate because I am very right-handed. And one of my other tricks I love to do when I'm cutting is I try not to start at the very tip of a ruler or template because it can dull your blade if you hit that.
If you touch it, it gets it, right?
Yep. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to roll backwards. I'm going to come back into that spot. I'm going to roll forwards all the way through.
Sure, because how many times you're using a template or a ruler,
right.
and you go to start, and it's like dunk.
Dunk, yeah, and then you get that thread left behind in the spot.
Yep.
Now, one of the other things I've done to my templates is I put a flat tip on all of the corners. Okay. So we need to cut that tip right there off. So I'm just going to roll over that so that goes away. The little hole there is for you to hang it on your wall.
Okay.
So we don't want to cut that out. Nope, no, don't cut that out.
Great.
Just going to cut that. Watch yourself. I'm going lefty.
Okay,
nice. Now for this portion, again, I'm going to reposition my body. Some of you might want to use your efficient Susan cutting mats. Those are really nice for this.
Sure. The lazy Susan?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So now one of the things I had to do in order to get a perfect circle here, we have added in 1/4 inch seam allowances everywhere.
Great.
So there's actually a 1/4 inch straight right here.
Okay.
So it's going to start straight and then it's going to start to curve.
Okay.
So just let your hand and the template, you're going to put your blade up against the template. So again, I'm going to come here, I'm going to cut out.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to nice and slowly, and I'm going to keep moving my fingers away.
You're moving your rotary cutter, not the template.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And I'm coming around, and I'm just going to let it come through, reminding myself that that last part was also straight.
Okay.
Comes right out there.
Easy.
Easy. Now we have a slice this way.
Okay.
And a slice this way, and we should be all clear and ready.
So let's see this here.
How do we do?
Just like that.
Ta-da!
There we go.
Awesome.
That looks easy enough. I'm going to try it.
All right.
Is that all right?
Yeah. You want to cut us up?
Yeah, let's do it. So, lay this out. Grab old Jerry. Not quite to the edge. Set it down.
Yep.
I'm going to start with, do the old backwards trick.
Like that.
All the way down and off. There we go. This one I can still clip down here at the bottom too, right?
Yep, as long as you feel safe.
So, rotate. Give myself another cut. The broken part that you broke in the truck earlier?
Yep, exactly.
Take that part off.
Now, just for an added bonus, I'm going to stop you right there.
Okay.
You're still doing perfect.
Okay.
But let's say somebody wanted to just use a solid triangle instead of one that was already cut out. At this moment, I would just rotate the template and then use that as my straight edge there and never cut that circle out.
So I was going to say grab another ruler, but you don't have to.
No, you really don't have to. You just don't cut this portion out.
So this is like a 2-in-1 here. You're getting a 60-degree triangle along with the template.
Right.
I'm going to turn this and reposition this just so I don't get all wonky on it. Okay, still good?
Okay. Yep, golden.
Okay. Cut that off. Good, like that, right?
Yeah, and you can even cut just like, softball Monday night, you run through first base, there you go.
And just get it out of the way?
Yep.
Okay.
Because this part isn't going to work for any other parts on our project because it's now too small to go into any of our other pieces.
So, starting like this.
Uh-huh.
Around. That's actually much easier than I thought it was going to be, I'm not going to lie. Just like that. Huh?
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Keep your blades sharp, always. All your rotary cutters, you want sharp blades. It's just a safety feature as well as an efficiency feature. Okay.
All right, let's see it.
Dynamite, dude.
That's not half bad.
No, it's great.
All right.
Fabulous. We actually need to make our fill pieces. So same situation when we're working with fill. You know me, I love to teach. So again, if I was making more Jerry's, I would just be flipping the triangles to use this edge as my next cut.
Sure.
Hopefully that's pretty obvious to everybody at home. I'm going to readjust this a little bit here. And now I'm just going to use that straight edge, just because I can, to cut out.
We're saving one cut.
Exactly. Oh, I'll point out the different ways to lay the templates on the fabric, showing where the folds are.
Most yield.
Yep.
Okay.
There are center lines in the template for the most yield on the folds, things like that.
Okay, great.
So that information is already there for you. Now, I have found on the arc, this is actually one of the more challenging cuts.
Okay.
Because what's going to happen, right now my blade is closed. A lot of times as I come around here, things just want to keep on traveling.
Sure.
Okay.
Give a little skiddly womp on the side there.
So I'm going to come around, I'm starting over here.
Okay.
And I'm really, again, just kind of pushing the blade up against the template. And did you see my body just rotate?
Sure.
As I came around the table? And that way I had to like really, safe, compensate by kind of like throwing that elbow a little bit. Right? But now I'm golden.
If you guys don't know, Rob Appell kind of doesn't know what he's talking about. So just...
I don't know.
Making a phone with Rob Appell. If you haven't subscribed yet, head over to his channel and subscribe, okay?
Please do. We got some great content going over there. Not only craft videos, sewing videos, quilting videos, but shop tour videos.
Yeah, absolutely.
Skateboarding through store videos.
Yeah, exactly. If you see Rob skateboarding through a store on the internet, it may or may not have been this one here in Las Vegas. So, all right, I'm going to line up my edges just like Rob showed. And I'm going to set this right here, right?
Perfect.
Okay. So, get my range of motion here.
I'll give you plenty of room.
There we go. Okay. So, give myself my little back cut here. Okay. And then right around, right? Mm-hmm. There we go.
Well done. Yeah, you can't see it. Nope. Okay.
Cool.
Just like that.
Not gonna lie, I was a little nervous about using the templates. I've never used templates before. I mean, maybe like one or two for just random stuff. I've never used like an actual template set. So, you can get these at SewYaQuilting.com. But
wonderful.
Cool. So let me set these in the camera view here so people can see these.
Okay.
So we haven't used this guy yet. We're gonna just leave him there.
Makes a whole different block.
There and there.
Now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take and we're gonna match our opposite colors. Okay. So now as we approach the sewing machine, the other thing that little extra 1/4 inch straight has done for us is give us a nice flat spot to start with. Okay. Because normally we would be laying, as we're going to still do, right sides together.
Yeah.
Okay. But in this situation, when we go right sides together, it's actually going to look more like this.
Tricky.
Right. And it would look like this. That's how it's going to finish.
Okay.
The other thing I like to do is I like to have my fill, the half circle, on the feed dogs, and I like to be able to hold Jerry up in the air and control him. So we're actually going into the machine just like this, and that's on that diagram as well. That flat spot is key.
So we're going to be sewing around this edge, correct?
You are correct.
Because when I see these together, I think, hey, we're going to sew like a line right here, but
no.
We're actually sewing here and then working around.
Right.
Okay.
Key to this is have a needle down function engaged if possible.
Okay.
Okay.
If not, just use your hand wheel.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. I'm going to start nice and slow, and we're going to sew nice and slow today.
Okay.
We may also want to go to a slightly shorter stitch length if we're not already set up that way. So I'm going to take the machine from a 2.5 down to a 2.
Okay, so just a little bit. That'll give us a little more.
A little less movement, which is going to keep our curve more smooth.
Which is also kind of the idea behind this, right?
Yep, exactly. Now I'm going to do a little bit of steering with my left hand. I'm going to do most of the driving and control by doing a little pull, a little push in and out of this arc here.
Okay.
And I think I'm ready to rock and roll. I just want to make sure my needle down is engaged. There we go. Okay, we're going to go 3 or 4 stitches at a time. And the next thing I'm really watching for as we come around is that the fabric doesn't start to ripple. If it starts to ripple, I might need to lift my presser foot, recalibrate slightly, and I'm just looking at the fabric coming off this edge of the presser foot as I go around.
Just to clarify for my sake here, okay? So you don't want it to ripple where?
I don't want it to be rippling under the needle. It's going to show little bits of ripple out here, but I don't want to stitch that ripple.
You don't want to be seeing a ripple getting laid over itself,
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Okay, and it's actually pretty smooth sewing until we get to about the top of that arc.
Okay.
Now, as you see, we were coming into the top, the fabric really wants to start to ripple over it. So I often find myself around the top of that arc, just repositioning, resetting, making sure there's no ripple under the needle.
Great.
And then at this point right now, it feels like there is no way this is going to come together.
That's what it looks like.
It really looks like this is an inch longer.
When you look at this, it looks like it's you're never going to have it, but...
And in fairness, 1 out of 10 of mine don't come back together, and we just redo it.
Okay.
Okay, now I just switched my hands. Now I've got pressure on this corner because I'm slowing down the bottom.
With the right hand?
Yep. And my left hand now is pulling this green fabric arc straight over. And as I come around, I just want to keep feeding into that arc.
Okay.
Give it a stop if I feel like I'm going a little bit wonky. Keep coming, keep coming.
Right off the edge.
Right off the edge. And I believe there's a thread cutter on this machine. Okay. Now the truth of the matter is I don't think I did it.
Okay.
I don't. Okay. No, I did not. I came over way too far.
Okay.
And the reason that happened, one, just because I promised you it would, right? is because you can see in the rippling here, I was pulling too much on the top fabric.
Green. Okay.
So I can almost guarantee everybody's first one will be a practice.
Okay.
As mine was today, because this machine is a newer machine to
You're
me.
standing.
I'm all of these little variables. So give yourself an opportunity to make one that's not awesome.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm going to make.
I'm going to give myself an opportunity right now.
I'm giving him the opportunity to make one that's awesome. But before we go too much further, at this point, if it turns out perfect, and what I mean by perfect is
this should line up, right?
Line up or 1/8 of an inch off or less. Because as long as it's within the quarter across the bottom, it will sew nicely back into your project.
Okay.
Okay. So it doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but it needs to be within 1/8 of an inch.
Okay. Great. So I'm gonna set this down here so they can see this. So you're gonna start almost like you cut this out of here and just moved it over, right? Obviously two different fabrics, but okay. So then we're gonna sew right down here.
Yep.
All right. Again, guys, these templates.
SewYeah.com, quilting.com. That's right.
SewYeahQuilting.com down in the description below.
And while Brody's setting up on this, if you're gonna cheat to a less than 1/4 inch seam allowance versus a more than 1/4 inch seam allowance, because the templates have an exact 1/4 inch seam allowance in there. And
when this, I believe this foot is a scant quarter that I have on here right now.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to do the first couple stitches. I'm going to pressure on this one, move it on this one,
but not pulling, just
guiding.
They're guiding. Guiding is the word we're looking for.
Gonna move this. I'm gonna have to reset my foot a tiny bit because I can see that it's rippling. Okay, I learned that from Appell.
That's
so
right.
You guys know. Here we go.
And then one of the other things I'll point out to just the folks at home while you're working on that is that fabrics are not all created the same. So the more dense your fabric is, or the tighter your thread count, the less it's going to unravel and the better it's going to stitch, especially in the curves or on triangles.
Sure.
Because it's on the bias.
Well, that's one good thing about Michael Miller too.
Yeah.
Because Michael Miller Fabrics is a top quality fabric that you don't have tons of crazy play in it. At the same time, it's just enough to do things like this, where both these fabrics are from Michael Miller, obviously.
Exactly.
So.
Yep. And our cotton couture is a very high density fabric. If you're not quite sure what that means, think like a batik. A batik is also a high density fabric, and also another great fabric to practice with these blocks, also because they don't really show a right side, wrong side most of the time.
That way you don't accidentally put it on the wrong side.
Yeah, you kind of just a little more freedom, a little bit more. When I'm teaching a new, slightly challenging technique like this, I want to omit as many of the variables to concern myself with.
Sure. That makes sense.
So we can just focus on what we're learning, the new stuff today.
Okay. You know, I think I'm close.
I think you're doing great.
There.
Yeah, you might even need to give a little encouragement to the white fabric.
Give a little tug.
Yeah, a little extra something.
Okay,
there.
and now I'm switching hands here. That feels natural, just to switch.
It did, didn't it?
Yep. Okay. So, gonna come around here. I feel like we're close. Gonna pull this out a tiny bit.
Not bad at all.
There we go.
Awesome.
All right.
Hey, I was digging around in the toolbox, but I didn't see small scissors. So just a reminder to everybody at home, snip the edges just down to where the thread is. Then what I want to go ahead and do from the top side is I'm going to press up into the triangle away from the semicircle.
Okay. You're doing this on the top.
On the top side.
Okay.
I actually iron all of my piecing from the finished side.
That's what I do too.
Yeah.
Feels more natural because you can see what you're trying to, what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and you're going to set the seam a little bit better this way. So this would be laying perfectly flat because you did an amazing job.
Thank you.
Nailed it. And because we would have put those little snips and everything. But you can see if you don't want to snip, you don't have to, but I do recommend it.
Sure. And depending on what kind of quilting you're doing too, I would assume that, like obviously this quilting is awesome and it's a little more dense.
Right.
So you won't tell if there's a little, a little pucker inside.
Yeah, a little wave,
All about getting it done and,
making it happen.
It's done, yeah. Yep. So, all right, so we've got our area cleared off. We're gonna jump into Bobby. Okay.
3 fabrics, so we're going to use all 3 colors this time.
Okay, great.
Okay, so we still have them stacked up. Now, with a template like this, because it is primarily straight edges, we can cut lots of layers.
Okay.
I'm usually comfortable with 6 layers at a time.
Okay.
You need 3 pieces of this to go together to form the 60-degree triangle.
Great.
So I suggest we cut all 3 of these
at the same time?
At the same time.
All right, I'm okay with that.
Now,
we're using our scraps here from our last one.
Easy, right?
Okay.
So I am just going to kind of line it up. And I'll cut the first one. Okay. And then I'll have you cut one maybe from the opposite side.
Okay.
So what I am going to try to do this time is I'm going to line my straight edges up as much as possible.
All right.
Because I'm just going to use those as my straight edge. Okay?
Okay.
So now we're set. We're just going to commit, make sure my donut holes are on the back there. Okay, and I'm setting this kind of in the middle in the field so I can talk about a couple different things.
Okay.
Primarily these blunt tips.
Okay.
Anytime you're cutting with a triangle, you can cut, you know, you're going to cut here, you're going to then, excuse me, flip it, cut here.
Sure.
So you're normally dealing with a long
strip.
So when we cut these tips, we don't want to come down and cut the tip. We want to cut through in the straight line to set that line for next time.
Okay.
Okay? So that's what I'm going to do first.
That's if you're doing multiple sets. Okay.
Exactly. Cutting them all in a row.
Got it.
Those paperworks I showed you earlier will teach you the most efficient way to do that.
Right.
I do not want you to start by cutting this because you're going to alter that straight line.
See, and me looking at this in the very beginning, that's the first thing I'd have been whoop, and then went over.
I didn't learn this the easy way. Right?
So it's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. So this is where again, same thing. I'm coming up here.
Okay.
I'm going to cut past and just let it go straight.
Okay.
Find that line again.
Okay.
Come up here, and normally I'm kind of coming off of the fabric because I've cut a width of fabric that's only wide enough.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Same thing, because I've come off that edge, I'm coming here, I'm rolling backwards to make sure I have the cut, coming all the way through here. Of course you could have rotated the fabric too, to be safer.
Sure.
Okay? But technically
Whatever works for you.
we've now cut this, now we take the tips off,
There we go.
just like this, and technically we should have 2 of each color.
Because there was 2 of each one.
Okay, we're going to flip these right side up. This is new fabric here is called Cocoa by Michael Miller.
Okay.
It's a really cool little dot. One of the things that you're seeing in all of this quilt is they're all basics. I love working with all basics because now they're different textures, but they're all like tonals.
Well, and the thing that most people don't see is that somebody looks at us like, wow, like, where did that quilt come from? It's all basics. This is stuff that you have in your stash, that you get from a basics box,
Right.
that you
Yeah.
know, it's all things that you have on hand or that you can get very accessibly in a quilt store.
Right. One of the tricks in working with basics first is it shows you where the blocks are and the different layouts are. Then when you want to start adding in your prints to add in more character, you're comfortable with the pattern itself.
Sure.
And now you know where to put your lights and your mediums and your darks. So
That
that's
makes
one of the
sense.
other reasons
Sure.
I love
That makes
working
sense.
with basics, right? So yeah, that Cocoa is another one of our fabulous basics.
Okay.
So one of the things I promote is that when you start making them, you're going to make multiples of 3 also if you want a star, like I was showing, right?
Sure. So you're doing 3 sets.
Yeah, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total as
Sure.
you go around. Either of those areas in this particular project, what I'm trying to say is we do everything the same. So
Okay.
I will take piece number 1,
Okay.
piece number 2, and I will line it up.
Okay.
And then I just need to make sure I always line up piece number 1 on the left,
The same.
piece number 2 on the right, flip them over, and if
Right side.
I'm doing tons and tons of these, right sides together like this, I'm going to chain piece them
Sure.
so that I make sure I keep everything in the right
Have
orientation.
them all set up and then just roll through them.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
Conversely, I love that word,
Uh-huh.
you could just make them scrappy and just grab and sew and go, and you have all different colors and all different techniques.
It would be a cool scrap buster.
Oh, amen.
Right?
Super
Get a
rad.
scrap bag on the D-Stash.
Right.
Boom.
Right. Boom.
New quilt.
Hey, how are you feeling about a Y seam? Have you ever done a Y seam?
I've never done a
before?
Y seam.
Good, you don't have to today either. It looks like a Y seam. It's kind of an elongated V.
I was like, you didn't say that before we started filming.
You told me this was coming. Okay, so I'm going to trade you places.
Okay.
And I'm going to teach everybody how to do the easiest Y seam on the planet, which is we're just going to pretend like it's a straight stitch.
Okay.
So we're going to start, and we're sewing the short edge, not the long edge.
Okay.
And we're going to go from the top all the way through. I am not going to stop at a 1/4 inch.
Okay.
Okay. So
So you
right
take
sides together.
2 of these, put them right sides together
Yep.
on one side.
Yep. Side. Again, you know, anytime you're building a quilt, doing all of the piecework the same, the consistency is really important. You know?
Sure.
So again, I'm going to sew right off of that edge. I'm not going to try to pivot at a 1/4. It's too hard to hit that mark. But I'm also
Sure.
not going to backstitch.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just going to cut threads
Okay.
and move on.
Okay.
Okay.
Or at that point, you just keep changing.
I just keep chain
Okay.
piecing. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to go to the iron, or I'll ask you to iron it.
Okay.
But what I have found, because we're going to sew down the white and into the green,
Okay.
I would like you to please press from here over onto the green for me. Set that
Okay, so from there to there.
Yep.
Okay. You got it.
Again, I didn't learn that the easy way either, but this seems to really help in this technique.
So just like this then, huh?
Yep. So what I'm also saying is pressing to the left side.
Okay.
Because of the nature of the way we're going to handle that.
So then we're going to sew it down like this.
Exactly.
Right? So.
Yep.
Go.
Okay, so now like you said, we're going to stitch that into here, but we're just going to address one piece at a time. So I'm going to start with my cocoa on the fairy frost, the white on the blue, right sides together.
Okay.
And you can also line up your now outside edge and your tip. That's the way those flat tips are so nice.
Great.
And now what we're going to shoot for, Brody, is we're going to hit that seam allowance that was right there.
Okay.
I can feel it, I can't see it. A little faith is going to come into play here. I think you and I both appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and so I'm going to sew. I'm going a little slower than on the first round. And I've got my finger on the bottom. Now my finger is on the top, right where that seam is. Coming in. And as soon as I think my needle is on that seam, I'm going to stop.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to lift the presser foot up.
And we've still got our needle down position.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep. I'm going to rotate this around. And I just need to check to make sure that that corner didn't get folded underneath. If it does, I take a steam wiper, a stiletto, a pocket knife, whatever I need to do to pop that out. But I have just rotated now, dropping that presser foot down, just making sure there's no gaps, no creases, no ripples underneath there. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to press both seams up into the blue.
So I'm doing one of these motions.
Yep, got it.
Okay.
Yep. They work out pretty awesome.
Those are cool. Check this out, guys.
Right?
I'm going to just lay it down just like this. So that's there, that's there. That's there, that's there. Right sides together.
Agreed.
Okay. Set this down. Alright. And then, let's see here. So, flip this over. Turn it.
Yep.
Trying to see how it's going to land. There we go.
There it is.
Then go like this. Alright.
You are absolutely correct.
That's why it's nice to have this one, because you can just...
Yeah. Oh, I do that all the time. I always have the block that is the working. I have a little spot on my wall. I pin it right above my cutting mat.
For our subscription boxes, we always have the first box done, and then every single box we bring it in, it's like, next.
Yep.
So, okay, so now tell me one more time about the seam here. So I can fill the seam just like right here.
Yes.
So you're gonna say I'm going right to just where I can fill this seam.
Yep. Bring your needle all the way down there.
It.
Park the needle right in that seam for where the white and the green fabric's met.
Okay.
And if it was something you were still feeling a little uncomfortable, you could put a pin or something in there.
Sure, a little marker.
Yeah.
Or a little dot with your Friction pen or something,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. The dot's probably a smarter choice than a metal pin.
Sure.
Because the metal pin's going to have to come out and it's going to get in your way if you try to rotate.
What I'm all about you do you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, if a pin works for you, put a pin. If a wonder clip on the edge works for you, use a wonder clip.
Right. Right.
Whatever. Okay, coming in. Here we go.
Ooh,
cool, that's
looking
pretty close.
good, man. Okay, I'll press up on the blue for you.
Bring it on over here.
Yeah, you
under
got
our
it.
camera here. So, there we go.
Okay.
I'm pretty proud of that. It's not perfect.
You should be.
But it's getting there.
Pretty close, man. But the templates are engineered so that your triangles are then the same size.
Cool.
So you can go in and do all kinds of fun things.
You can do something like this.
Yes.
And pop another one of these on the side even.
Exactly.
Keep going.
And of course, you can always do something where you could have done the fairy frost snow here and the fairy frost snow here and here. So all you would have got was the little green pea with the hat kind of thing.
Sure.
So you can, I don't have to use 3 colors.
You know what you could do out of this too? Just like side note. You could do a gnome.
Yeah, it looks a lot like a gnome.
You get like a gnome going on.
And I have one last quilt I'll show you.
Okay, let's see it.
Okay, so this quilt is called the Cocoa Star.
Okay.
It's a free pattern at making it fun. Or I should really say at michaelmillerfabrics.com we have a page of inspiration.
Okay.
You can get a bunch of free patterns.
Which is linked down below, guys.
Yep. Right next to where you can get the templates.
Everything for this, right?
So this here Cocoa Star uses all the 50 shades of cocoa, creating the stars using the Bobby template like we just did. 3 fabrics. All 3 fabrics are in their exact same position over and over again.
Throughout the quilt.
Just throughout the quilt. Very simply quilted, just an echo quilting stitch as you go around. And so this is just a super fun and easy pattern. Like I said, it's available for everybody to enjoy and a good practice warm up. And you can see right here is where I've put in the solid triangle instead of a Jerry and Phil based triangle.
Well, that's awesome. And this is just one of the templates that you're going to get in the template pack.
Right.
Right? You can do your own. Yeah, you get all 3. You can do this. You can do that. Possibilities are endless.
I would really hope that folks would send us some photos of what they're doing with it, right?
If you guys make one of these, make sure you comment down below or you can text it in our text line, which we'll also link down below. Social media, tag Rob, tab Michael Miller, tag Making It Fun, all the hashtags. You guys know how that is. So guys, that's it.
We did it,
right? We did it.
Yeah, man.
Thank you really for coming out and helping me. I know that was cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
So guys, that's it. We're here in Las Vegas in the studio, teaching you how to sew like a pro and making it fun with Rob Appell. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.